be able to first start off with just with a welcome. So give all of our young people from our Mikva Challenge Student Advisory Council a round of applause. And then, right, just the moment of the hour, we want to also just affirm all of our candidates for showing up in amazing numbers, right? So let's give them a round of applause. So, my name is James Fields. I am a Mikva alum and also Senior Director of Youth Councils here for Mikva Challenge. In Mikva Challenge, our mission is for our young people to be informed and engaged and active citizens to promote a just and equitable society. And one way that we do that is by giving our young people just, the seat that they deserve at the table to uplift their voices and their solutions to the problem that impacts them the most. So we really value their expertise, and our SAP young people have been working extremely hard to develop these questions that you'll hear this evening, but to also put on this first ever historic youth-led candidate forum. So let's give them a round of applause. For our audience, I know that you are excited and ready to go, but we're going to ask that you hold your applause to the very end. I know sometimes when you go to these events, like for example graduation, when they say hold the applause to the end, everybody usually kind of goes crazy every single time they hear something's good, or whether you hear something that you love or whether you hear something that you disagree, we're going to ask you to refrain from speaking or applauding until the very end to just make sure that we can move smoothly through our event. And we're also going to ask you to pull out your cell phones. Let me see these little devices that we're always on. I need you to silence those, okay? So take a moment right now to silence your cell phones as we get ready to start this event. And I'm now going to toss it over to one of our young people that's a Student Advisory Council member named Divine. So you're going to rock with her as she comes and she shares her highlight and what SAC is about. So thank you all and welcome again.
Well, first of all, good evening, everyone. How are we feeling? As I was saying earlier, my name is Divine, and I currently attend Steinmetz College Prep, which is in District 1. Where's my District 1 people? Yes! As he stated, I am a Student Advisory Council member. The Student Advisory Council is a group of students from various neighborhood schools and districts. We each represent different high schools from all over Chicago. What SAC means to me is a safe space where students like me can be given the opportunity to be heard. It also gives me the opportunity to bring even more resources for my community. We work alongside with CPS higher-ups to make school more equitable and safe for all students. I know I say SAC is just a group of students, but it's quite frankly more than that. We are a family and we are future leaders in the making. Over the summer, we accomplished numerous things such as removing school resource officers, and we have also incorporated an elected school board into the civics curriculum. Thank you, and I would like to pass it on to Maury.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Amari Roberts. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the interim program manager for the CPS Student Advisory Council, and would like to welcome you all to today's event. So through this forum, we hope that you all will become better informed and better informed about the issues within different schools around Chicago, and become better acquainted with the candidates running for office. We would like to set a few ground rules before heading into our Q&A portion. For candidates, please ensure that you are respecting time limits. So those who are in our front row, they will have cue cards for you all. One for 30 seconds and another one for wrapping it up. They will also making sure that you're also speaking with respect and being clear and staying on topic. There will be no interruptions to our questions, and that you also follow the moderator's cues, so that will be myself and the young person, and ensuring that your responses are inclusive and youth-centered. We will also have interpreters within the space. Mandarin will be for channel 1, and then Spanish will be for channel 2. So if you have anyone, or we hear any feedback in the background, knowing that is our interpreters. All right, now we'll pass it over to Sal.
Thank you for the introductions, Amari, James, and Divine. Hi, my name is Salvador, or Sal. My pronouns are he, him, and I attend Hubbard High School, which is in the 8th District. As Divine has shared some highlights on SAC, I want to share with you all why you're here. So, for the first time in our city's history, we will be electing members to the Chicago Board of Education. So, we will elect 10 members on this November 5th. And those 10 members will be joining the 10 appointed members by Mayor Johnson in addition to the president of the board. So, that board will be fully elected by the year 2027. But it's going to make us one of the largest school boards in the country. So we're going to go from 7 to 21, which is a lot. So now for today's agenda. The agenda for today will consist of a Q&A portion for the candidates. We'll also have, if you have any questions for the candidates, please write them down on an index card. And we will have a portion towards the end of the Q&A section for today in which we will ask the questions on your behalf. We have a variety of candidates from different districts, ranging from District 1 to District 10, and you will be able to hear from them soon. The questions will be asked by my colleagues, other SAC members, and these questions were created and selected as a council. And they make sure to cover a variety of areas that are important to us. Again, we also will incorporate your questions to make sure that the candidates also answer them as well. Now we will be opening with statements from the candidates. So first, we will ask each of the candidates to share an opening statement of 1 minute. When introducing yourself, please share your name, pronouns, district, your qualifications, and why you would like to be on the school board. We will do this in alphabetical order and first name. Starting with Adam from District 10 and finishing with Robert Jones.
Hello? Can you hear me without it?
No, use the mic.
No, okay, pass. There we go. And that was my minute, thank you. Now, good afternoon. My name is Adam Parrott Sheffer. I am in District 10 with he, him pronouns. And I am a proud Kenwood parent, as well as a neighborhood elementary school parent, and a 20-year educator who has spent time as a teacher and a proud Chicago public school principal. What brings me up here today, besides those 2 young people and all of their friends that I care very much about, is the fact if you ask young people across this country to describe school in 1 word, that word is, it's boring. And what that means is that we have a lot of work to do in our schools to make them places where kids get engaged in mastery, where they get to expand their creativity, and where they get to have fun each and every day. And that means that we have classroom communities where each student feels significant, where they belong, and where they get to explore and understand their identities. And I know that we need someone on the board who believes these things and has actually done the work to make them happen in our schools.
Good evening. My name is Andy Davis. I'm running in District 4, which is on the north side of the city. I'm a parent of a CPS high school student. Both of my kids went to elementary school in CPS. I'm running because I think there's nothing more important for the future of the city than ensuring that every student in every neighborhood of the city has access to a wonderful education. And today we know that's not the case. The fact of the matter is, though, that all of the candidates up here, and I think probably everyone in the room, is in favor of wonderful education. But the question is, how do we pay for it? And I have a lot of experience in education finance. I used to run the State of Illinois Student Assistance Commission that does the MAP grants and that sort of thing. And as you guys are thinking about college now, are understanding that dreams are one thing, but how you pay for it is very important as well. So I think I'm up for that challenge, and I'd like to help.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Carlos Rivas. I'm representing District 3. I'm a proud alum of Mikva, back in high school, volunteering on campaigns. he, him pronouns. I'm a CPS grad. I'm a former teacher and counselor, having spent 10 years supporting our schools, and I started my career as a teacher aide at Lowell Elementary. So I really believe that Chicago lacks community centers and safe spaces, as I've seen in the work that I do, and I want to make sure that our schools are serving as those community spaces for our community. So buenas tardes a todos, y muchas gracias por tenerme aquí.
Gracias. My name is Carmen Giosa. My pronouns are she and her, and I am running in District 4. I am running for Chicago's Board of Education because I have an independent voice as an academic and as an educator. I have dedicated my entire 23-year career to teaching and leading change in CPS. I bring experience as an educator that has taught high school classes and am now teaching future CPS teachers. I bring experience engaging CPS in central office meetings and bringing a resolution that brought academic and social emotional interventions to all of our schools. I bring experience as a parent to 2 children. I also bring the experience of a second language English student that struggled in school and was supported by amazing teachers that went the extra mile. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Ebony D. Berry. I am a former student in Chicago Public Schools. I attended Gale Elementary and graduated from Sullivan High School. I'm a lifelong Rogers Park person. I am the parent of an alum of Chicago Public Schools as well. And Mikva, he's also an alum of Mikva, so I'm very happy to be here with you all. I've been a teacher in our public school system. I've served on the local school councils. I am currently the fundraising arm at my former elementary school. And in my day job, I get to manage the parent mentor program at 8 Northside schools. So, hi parent mentors, I see you out there. That's short. Okay. I've helped elect progressive champions, and now they're supporting me.
Good evening, everybody. Buenas tardes a todos. Mi nombre es Eva Villalobos. I'm representing District 7. I use pronouns she, her. I have a professional background in the private sector as a finance and accounting, but also I have been very much involved in my community. I went to multiple public schools in the West Englewood, in Bridgeport, back at the Yards, and Archer Heights areas. I've been very much involved in my community with fundraisers, with doing community outreach, and I've also been a proud mom now of 4 beautiful girls, 2 that I had to muster the whole foster system and then completed the adoption with them. So I have that knowledge and understanding that a lot of our parents face when trying to navigate our systems in various ways. I'm also focused into listening to our parents and making sure that they are always prioritized in our options.
Hello everybody, my name is Jason Donas. Gracias por venir. I am running in District 3. I use he, him pronouns, and I am running because education is my life. And I don't just mean that to say I have a lot of passion for it or I'm really committed. I literally mean education is my life, from my responsibility as a parent of 2 young boys, one in CPS, one soon to be in CPS. I take that responsibility very seriously as an involved parent, local school council member, backpack member, fighting to make sure that my school has everything that it needs. And in my day job, my 9 to 5, serving schools for the last almost 15 years now. Education is life, and education is life because I believe Chicago has some of the most innovative, resilient, smartest young people that the country has to offer. I have to believe that. I was one of them as a CPS graduate myself. And, oh, does that mean time? Oh, I missed it, sorry.
So the bell means we're wrapping it up. You're going to bell here for a minute, and then our young people will be holding those up to say okay. Sounds good.
All right, good evening. My name is Jessica Biggs. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm running in District 6 for our first elected school board. First and foremost these days, I'm a mom to a curious and intuitive 5th grader who attends Galileo Scholastic Academy in Little Italy. I'm also proud to have served as a CPS principal for 6 years at Burke Elementary School in Washington Park, where I partnered with my students, my families, my teachers, my school community, and together we moved that school off of probation over the course of my tenure. Today I work as an organizer at the Southwest Organizing Project, or SWAP, where I build coalitions and collaboratives of healthcare, behavioral health, and social service organizations around neighborhood schools on the Southwest side to create holistic wraparound models of care, where we also hire parents in those schools to act as navigators. So I'm proud to be here. Thank you for having me.
Good evening, everybody. Oh, they're not allowed to say good evening back home. Good evening, everybody. All right. I grew up in church, so I make everybody say things twice. My name is Danielle Wallace. I'm running as a write-in candidate. That's a real thing. A write-in candidate for District 6. And I'm running because when I was 17, I had 2 sets of twins. 17, 2 sets of twins, 1 year. You do the math. And I dropped out of high school because my high school didn't have what we needed to homeschool me. And so it took me a little bit to go back and get my GED, and then another 13 years to get my undergraduate degree. And the only reason why I could be sitting here before you is because of my village. And I believe every child should have that village. And I believe that CPS has the capacity to be the village that you guys need. And I'm just here to make sure that that happens.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much to Mikva Challenge Student Advisory Council for putting on this forum. As a student voice facilitator for many years, I have great respect for Mikva Challenge. My name is Karen Zapor, and I'm running in District 4. My pronouns are she, her. I've been a CPS parent, an LSC member, and I just retired from teaching after 28 years. I'm running for this council as someone who fought for the school board for over 10 years. And my priority is to transform CPS from the very inequitable system it is now into a system where parents can send their children to well-resourced, high-quality public schools in their neighborhood. I also believe in transparency and accessibility, and will be bringing the board to the people, which means going to meetings, going to every corner of my district, making sure I hear in particular from students and parents.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Karen Norrington Reeves, and I'm a candidate in the 10th District. Muy buenas tardes a todos. And I spent my first part of my career as a former elementary school teacher, a bilingual teacher, 1st through 5th grade, Spanish and English. I'm also the mother of an immigrant student who is also a special needs student. And so I'm here to advocate for special needs populations, which comprise nearly 20% of our CPS student population. In addition to that, I am a workforce development leader within this nation, and I focus on career and technical education for young people. And we need more of that within CPS from grade 6 through 12th grade. Finally, I want to focus on kindergarten through 2nd grade literacy. My pronouns are she and her. I am a former CPS, I'm a CPS alum, kindergarten through 12th grade, and also the mom of a former student. I look forward to answering your questions. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kimberly Brown, District 4, she, her. I am a journalist turned marketer. I climbed my career ladder to be a chief officer. I run multi-billion-dollar organization, so very well equipped to lead something as large as CPS. I love public school. My children go to public school. They're early elementary school. In my public high school, I was the classic overachiever because it was my escape from a pretty tough home, of food scarcity, emotional challenges, and it helped me survive and thrive. I think we have an amazing school system. I look at you all, and I would never shame where you go to school, but we need more resources. And we need people who know how to do the job and grow it, and I'm looking forward to the opportunity to lead. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lamont Raymond Williams, candidate for the 9th District, the only candidate from the 9th District who seems to be here today. My pronouns are he, him. I am a licensed attorney. I'm also Chief of Staff and General Counsel of Cook County Commissioner Bill Lowry. I'm the only candidate in my race who's independent and has both the legal and government experience required to really do this job well and do this job starting on day one. But outside of my professional accolades, I'm also a coach. Several of you call me Unc already. And I'm also a mentor and a tutor. I'm running because I believe that you all deserve better. Our students deserve better. And I want to make sure that you all have a voice. I want to make sure that you are involved in the decisions that directly impact you. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Maggie Fullerton Hooper, she, her pronouns, and I'm running in District 2. I am the parent to 2 CPS students who attend our global majority neighborhood school in Albany Park, Hibbard Elementary. I'm a trained Raise Your Hand parent leader. I'm a peer advocate for survivors of gender-based violence. I worked at the Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events, overseeing all of the city's arts and culture grant making out, as well as at City Hall as the Chief Philanthropy and Partnerships Officer. The biggest reason I'm running is because I'm a person with disabilities. I'm dyslexic, I have ADHD and processing delays, and I also live with mental illness. I'm the parent of a child with disabilities, and I'm a volunteer parent advocate for other families of students with disabilities. We've never had a person with disabilities on the Board of Education, and I think it's critical to have direct lived experience.
I'm Thomas Day. I am a candidate in District 4, he, him pronouns. I am a lecturer at the University of Chicago, the Public Policy School, and I sub every once in a while over at Tubman Elementary. I also have a kindergartner who goes to Hawthorne. I'm running with a platform of making some tough choices and dealing with some fiscal challenges that our public schools have. Not just our public school system, but of course the city of Chicago. We are confronting a $500 million deficit with CPS, more at the city. This to me recalls several other crises that our city has faced. Of course, the Great Fire. Of course, also in 1980-81, we faced some steel plant closings. And like Chicago ever always does, we came up with leaders, we found leaders to lead us out of that crisis. I'm talking about a community organizer named Barack Obama. And I'm so honored to be here because I know the spirit of greatness that our city has always had is in this room in front of me. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Robert Jones, candidate for the 10th District. My pronouns are he, him. I'm a grandfather of 12, I'm a father of 4, I'm a husband, I'm a faith leader of over 40 years. I'm a pastor in the Brownsville community of over 16 years. I've been committed to the advocacy of education for our young people. I was one of the hunger strikers that reopened Diet High School. I've been an advocate for health care in that I worked to reopen the Mercy Hospital that was closed, and now there's Inside Hospital. I've been an advocate, and one of the things that's important to me is that there is, in our schools, it is important to have educational equity in our schools, as well as sustainable community schools, as well as a holistic restorative justice environment. Thank you.
All right, thank you for those introductions. So So now we will be moving on to the Q&A portion for today. So a few ground rules. So the questions will be asked by my colleagues, the staff members. And the paddles that you see, they symbolize that you have 30 seconds left when to start wrap things up. And that bell, could someone ring the bell for me, please? Means you've gone on for a bit and it's time to move on to the next person. Okay? So, now the first question, please.
Hello? Okay, perfect. Hi everyone, my name is Angela Thomas and my pronouns are she, her, and I go to Roosevelt High School. In my Roosevelt High School, I am an LSC member, which means I am a pro-advocate for student representatives, which is tied into today's question, which is, how would you utilize the school board to ensure that student voices are in a constant state of being heard, valued, and accounted for, not only with student-to-board collaboration, but also with student and community collaboration that lies within your respective district? And I would like to direct these questions to the following candidates: Adam from District 10, Ebony from District 2, Kimberly from District 4, and Jason from District 3. Thank you.
So my role as a principal in my building was if a kid could do something, they should be doing it. So that meant that my students were on my hiring committees, my students helped design our specials elective schedules, and my students helped run parent night each year. Because I know that our schools run best when our kids have a strong voice at the table. So let's think about what does that look like when we're doing it at the level of 600 students or 600 schools engaging in student advocacy. I think one of our challenges is adults really like to say no, even to other adults. And I think our job is to be able to say, when kids have an idea, kids share their brilliance, to be able to say yes. And if we can't say yes, we have to be clear about what needs to be true to help those ideas happen. So we have lots of strong student organizations in this city that we need to be tapping into, that we can be co-hosting board meetings with, that we need to make sure are key parts and key partners when we are working together to make sure that students have the greatest voice in our conversations. That's a big reason why I'm running. There's a lot of folks who are running with adult special interests behind them. I'm running with kid interests. I'm running with teachers behind me. I'm running with folks who are in our schools each and every day, and folks who have done the work. Thank you.
I had the great experience of being a youth worker at a community center called Howard Area for years, and what I learned there was that I had a lot of bias about youth and who knows best, and they taught me a lot. Okay, I was very adultist, but now that my son is matriculated, he is my thought partner in so many decisions that I make because he has vision and imagination that I no longer have. And so I value youth voice supremely, and we should figure out a system where we either have a youth council or several youth working groups, because you're stakeholders as well as teachers, as well as parents, and you deserve voice and choice. You're never too young to start organizing and really stepping up and pushing what you want for yourselves, your life, your community. So.
Okay, I will do better this time, I promise. Wait, where did y'all go? Science? Oh, okay. See, y'all can't be doing this to me. It's hard enough. Well, yes, I'll prioritize. I heard a lot of amazing things. I'll prioritize sharing really concretely what I would want to do. The first is reinforcing local school councils with one extra student representative. Let's have a pair of people, young people who can really thoughtfully collaborate with one another and come up with amazing ideas for your school. Let's then partner with local school councils as kind of microcosm school-based boards. Let's partner with local school councils as a board and hear first and foremost what it is that you're seeing, experiencing, and wanting to see at your school. I believe in a system of co-governance. That's why we're doing this. This is the first time that you get to vote for this. This is the first time that even some students, if you're of voting age, get to vote for this. And so our responsibility as a board is to be accountable to you. And that means using co-governance strategies that we know are tried and true that work. So surveying you and using the surveys that are available to us already, like the Cultivate survey and other things that might be a little bit annoying in the middle of the day, but we have data that our students, that you young people are giving us. We're just not putting that front and center. We're not using those tools that are available to us. And so from surveys to access to visiting your schools to having y'all tour, why is a teacher touring me in this school? You can tour me, and I hope to do that. Thank you.
Is it my turn? Okay. I'll give you a two-part answer. But I am going to center this in remembering the scope and the level of this job. Right? This is the board, right? So the CEO of CPS, we're really talking about a $10 billion organization, reports to the board. That is our job. So two-part answer. One, and this is me like channeling me. I don't like wasting my time, and I don't want you to waste your time. So you have great ideas, and you don't want to spin your wheels. So you should know the challenges that we're facing and being given clear parameters. Here's the budget. Here are the top 10 challenges. Here are the constraints. So if you have a resume that you want to build, a group that you need to activate on, you know exactly the constraints that you need to innovate around. Innovation is your imagination with constraints, right? So now you know the 20 things that we're trying to figure out. So that's number one, and then you can go innovate on that, and if we're not going to listen to you, then you take that to a nonprofit, you take that to a private equity firm, and you get that done. Number two, you tell us everything. We need to give you that information back. We need to data visualize what you told us and what we're going to do with it. That is our job. We need to tell you what we heard and what we're going to do with it. And you hold us accountable by voting. You can drive this election. Every junior and senior in high school, you can decide who wins by voting.
Thank you all for all those responses. Transitioning to our second question. My young people who are holding up our signs, please be sure to account for the time. All right, I will pass it over to Lucy.
Hi, my name is Lucy. My pronouns are she, her. I attend Senior Academy in the 9th District. My question is, given the numerous hardships and challenges the young people face today, what is your plan to intentionally increase access to mental health resources and counseling service across our schools? How will you ensure these resources effectively meet the needs of students? I would like the following candidates to answer this question. Carlos from District 3, Robert from District 10, Andrew from District 4, and Lamont from District 9.
Thank you so much for that question. I think this goes to the heart of one of the things that I've been talking a lot with families is that we lack community spaces in Chicago. We lack safe spaces. A lot of the work that I do in my day job, connecting with youth groups around the city, we talk about this. And so we have the opportunity now to be able to partner with groups, and there's lots of schools that are already doing this that have partnerships that bring in additional mental health services, physicians, nurses, things like that that are already being offered at our schools. What are the partnerships that we as a board can find for our school communities to ensure that we're increasing those? We don't have to do this work alone. Our school doesn't have to solve every single problem it has by itself. We need to go out and seek out the help from other partners, whether that's philanthropy, going to other community organizations, what are the counseling centers doing, and how can we bring those services into our schools? We have space. Let's ensure that we can have those services available to our students and families, not just to our students, at our school communities.
Thank you very much for the question. It becomes important for us to understand why it is important for us to have sustainable community school models in all of our schools, and a part of that model is to have wraparound services that will provide counseling. It is important that we understand that there are treatment, not trauma models that are existing today that we can plug into to help our young people, as well as our teachers as well, and the parents as well. And we should commit ourselves to that. It becomes important for us to make absolutely sure that these are things that they get to provide them the mental health services and the counseling provisions that they need.
Meeting the needs of students in all their capacities, whether it's academic or counseling, mental health, emotional health, is obviously very important. It's something that we don't do an adequate job of today, and I'm all in favor of having additional counselors and social workers and mental health support in every school. So it's a great idea. It should be done.
All right, so, again, Lamont Raymond Williams from the 9th District. I want to make sure I'm speaking directly to you all as students and giving you all solutions and not just talking points. As an independent candidate, I find that very important. You all don't want to be talked to, you want to have a conversation with, right? So, 3 parts. First, we have to make sure we secure the funding. That's making sure that we go and demand from Springfield that they close the funding gaps from the Common Education Fund that actually funds public education. A lot of that comes through the Illinois State Lottery net proceeds. Right now there are 11 different carve-outs that leak money from the Common Education Fund. That means they're leaking money from you all. We need to plug that up immediately and demand more. And we need to also do that at the federal and local level. 2, we need to implement the whole school safety plan and the Black Student Success Plan. The reason why I named those 2 specific plans is because those plans were engineered with you all in mind, and they cover different program recommendations for mental health services for our students. I got 30 seconds left, don't hit me with the countdown. Last thing is we need to make sure that once we have those resources and we're going to implement the Black Student Success Plan and the whole school safety plan, we need to make sure that we are properly resourcing our mental health professionals that are in our schools, and lastly, listening to our students. Thank you.
Thank you for your responses. Question 3, please.
Hello, my name is Jerry Salazar, and my pronouns are he, him. I attend Benito Juarez Community Academy in the 7th District. Major Johnson has proposed a short-term loan as part of an effort to address significant budget shortfalls in CPS, aiming to cover operational costs, avoid cuts to essential programs, and cover teacher increases and pensions. The CEO and former school board members oppose the loan option and prefer instead to use the TIP fund to help pay for things. Bottom line, many schools, particularly those in under-resourced communities, have historically struggled to receive adequate funding. Given these financial realities, how do you plan to prioritize school funding as school board member? How will you ensure that those schools historically lacking sufficient resources finally receive the funding they need to support student success? And I would like Carmen from District 4, Eva from District 7, Jessica from District 6, Corinne from District 10, and Thomas from District 4.
Thank you. Carmen is answering for you. So I'm trying to think of a very good example for a student. The budget. So CPS wrote a budget that's 261 pages. So I'm thinking of a textbook. That book is very dense with lots of charts and lots of words. But the problem with that budget, that really thick book, is I need a summary. I need to know exactly where the dollars are going. Before we could even start thinking about loans or asking people for money, I need to make sure that every single dollar is accounted for. So that's how I would start answering the question about school funding. Next, when it comes to the resources that our schools are lacking, we really need an open dialogue between schools and the Board of Education. No school should ever have a budget that doesn't meet the needs of that building. I know what it's like to approve school budgets, and I know what it's like to draw a line between the cost of something and what it is that our school needs. And I need the Board of Education to do the same thing, but I need the schools to come and say, I need $5 extra. And no school should ever be worried, and no one should ever be worried to ask for more money if it supports our students.
Emma Villalobos, District 7. With this whole loan thing, first of all, not a great idea. We don't want to get ourselves more in debt. We do not have any revenue coming in. So just the idea of proposing that it's mind-boggling. For me, I would be prioritizing the tips. That would be a great way to go ahead and start limiting this. And we can go ahead and start freeing a lot of money to go back into the schools, helping directly the students. The way that I would be prioritizing this is having that open line of communication with the students, with the parents, with the staff. A lot of times our parents know more what's going on in the schools and what we're lacking than sometimes the staff themselves. A lot of times kids know more how to solve the problems with simple ways of addressing it, and we're not listening to them. I want to make sure that we first put out an ear to them. Another way to go ahead and making sure that we're accountable with these funds is having audits. We need to have external audits. We need to make sure that we are being transparent in the way that we're spending this money, and we need to make sure that put it in a language that all of our citizens can understand. I can understand the mumble jumble when it comes to accounting and finances, but not everybody, so we need to make sure that we make it friendly for them.
All right, so taking out a short-term high-interest loan to cover our operating expenses is sort of like using a credit card to pay off expenses that occur over and over and over again, for instance, like a grocery bill. So that just sets us further back without a solution. In the short term, I support using TIF funds to cover our budget gap, but that doesn't go far enough. Over the course of the long term, we need to make sure that we're advocating with our partners in Springfield, our state legislature, and our governor's office to fully fund the evidence-based funding formula, which essentially says that school districts that have greater needs should have more money come back into them. That is a formula that has to be fully funded and would mean that about $1.2 billion additional dollars would come back into CPS each and every year. Beyond that, CPS made a good first step this year in implementing what's called the Opportunity Index as a means to fund our schools. And that Opportunity Index says something very similar to what the evidence-based funding formula says. It says that our schools that have higher needs should have more dollars going into them. I fully support the ongoing implementation of the use of that index, and that we evaluate the impact to make sure that there aren't any unintended consequences in its first year of implementation.
So to your question, I think taking out a short-term loan to fill a growing budget gap is irresponsible. I am the CEO of an organization, and I spent the last 12 years as the CEO of the Chicago Cook Workforce Partnership. I managed over $500 million in federal and state and local funding. And if I had ever said to my board, I want to take out a $300 million high-interest short-term loan to fill a recurring budget issue, they would have taken me out of my job. It does not make sense. It's actually not fiscally responsible. The other thing is that the budget deficit that we have now is actually going to continue to grow because the current budget deficit doesn't include the teacher's contract that's coming. It doesn't include the principal's contract, and it doesn't include issues that may arise with our buildings. So The TIF surplus, you talked about the TIF, so it's the surplus, that extra that exists within the TIF, that is available. I think that there's an opportunity for us to tap into that, but that's not going to be the solution long-term, year over year. Year over year, we have to do a couple of things. First, we need a forensic audit, which looks at our trends in spending. It will help us show where there are any problems, where there's fat that we need to cut. That's number one. Number two, the opportunity index is equitable funding, but that equitable funding has to be applied with context. They gave equitable funding to a school that only has less than 25 students, so that doesn't make sense. And then finally, we need public-private partnerships to help fill the gap.
So I am totally against the payday loan, 100%, but this issue is rooted in some decisions that we have continually punted year after year. So let's define what status quo is right now. The average age of a CPS main building is 84 years old. We have 12 high schools that are 80% or more empty. We are managing about $8 billion in long-term debt, paying about $800 million each and every year to service this long-term debt. What does progress look like? In my judgment, it is providing a student experience within modern, fully enrolled, and integrated classrooms. To get there, I have proposed that we take on some of these tough choices about consolidating massively disenrolled schools. And as we're doing this and bringing communities into these conversations, like they did in Inglewood with Inglewood STEM a few years ago, looking in the next 5 or 10 years at a capital development plan that builds 20 new schools that consolidates 60 old schools to provide more modern facilities, handicap accessible facilities, geographically located to maximize racial integration in CPS.
Thank you for all those responses. May we have question 4, please?
Hi everybody, my name is Avi Desai. I attend Northside College Prep. My pronouns are she, her, and my question for you is, the SAC has been a member of the Whole School Safety Steering Committee for the last 4 years. This summer, CPS adopted the Whole School Safety Policy, which shifts the focus from traditional policy measures to the more holistic, student-centered approaches prioritizing mental health, restorative justice, and community-based strategies. How do you plan to continue partnering with CPS students to ensure this voice remain central in shaping and evolving safety policies? Additionally, how will you ensure both the school board and individual schools remain accountable in upholding these safety measures and creating safe environments? I would like for the following candidates to answer this question. Maggie from District 2, Adam from District 10, Carlos from District 3, Kimberly from District 4, Karen from District 4, and Danielle from District 6.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this question. It's really critical. I think that incorporating student voice is going to be important broadly, of course. Making sure that we're having meetings where we're going to students. We need to remember that there's a lot going on in kids' schedules these days, right? And so whether that means we're going out to sporting events or we're coming to after-school programs, we need to go out and meet students where they are and make sure that we are as accessible to them as possible. I would also urge us to incorporate a gender-based violence prevention and reduction framework across the entirety of the school safety plan and fully fund our sex education programs and do that in partnership with students. Sounds weird for school safety, but I promise it's not. The data's there. Sex education from kindergarten actually reduces negative gender stereotypes. It can increase reporting of gender-based violence in the home and personal relationships. It can really improve the safety and security of all students from preschool all the way through senior year of high school, and making sure that we are seeing those effects. I'm sorry, I can't finish answering about the accountability piece, but I promise I do have one.
So this is personal to me as someone who's led schools that have lost students and has been that parent that received the email from their own child's school saying that someone else's kid wasn't coming home that day. As a principal, what I've learned is that each and every student in the building is the most important member of our school safety team. We were able to prevent other incidents because kids had adults that they trusted, that they were able to tell what was going on. And so when we think about our school safety plans, it's critical that we focus first on the day-to-day relationship building that we do amongst students and amongst adults in our buildings, whether that's through advisory, whether that's through other social emotional learning experiences coupled with those mental health services when they're needed. So I think that's how we partner. We need to be listening. We need to make sure that we have the survey tools in place to be hearing how kids experience school. How kids feel connected to their schools. We need to have kid voices at the tables for each of these plans and helping to hold us accountable. So that accountability piece, a lot of that is about data and information. We need to make sure that these incidents are public. We know what's happening in buildings, with student privacy in place, but that we have that level of accountability at a board level so that everyone can help us know, hey, things are bubbling up here. How do we start to address it? And we'll need student voices as part of that.
One of the things that I would say is incredibly important is ensuring that, just as Adam was saying, making sure that we have student voice and students have a trusted adult in their school building. And then what are we doing as the board to encourage that all of our schools are not just staying to what's inside their building and not understanding what's going on around them. We need to make sure that our schools know what's happening around in their communities, in their neighborhood. How are we ensuring that we have our students with safe passages to and from school? What are we doing to partner with community organizations that are doing violence interruption work in our communities, like BUILD and also, to make sure that we are hearing out about what's happening on our blocks. It can't just be about what's happening in my school community, in my building, and not worrying about what's happening around. When I was in the classroom, when I was working at a school, it was really important for me to understand what was happening around in our school, in our community, around the school. That can include going to CAPS meetings, that can include partnering with different organizations and hearing what they are seeing in the community so that we, as a safety team within our schools, know what's happening and can prevent things.
There's a lot of degrees up here, but we are going to do it. I'm going to yes and the answers. There's nothing I heard that I disagree with. Verbally, so you can follow along, I'm going to give you a three-part answer. One, part of our job is to grow resources. So our job is to raise money for the schools. We need more money. Right? With more money, it makes the job of the principals and the teachers and everything actually becomes easier when you have more money because the teachers and the principals and everyone at the school is less stressed on trying to make ends meet to actually focus on this type of stuff. Principals spend arguably 60 to 65% of their time trying to do really random administrative work. Making sure that the school's getting clean when someone else should be doing that, making sure that a tree doesn't fall on a kid. These are real stories. Because someone else should be cutting down the tree, but CPS and the neighbor and the neighborhood association can't figure out whose job it is to make sure that that branch doesn't fall down. We need to make sure that the district and central office are doing their jobs so the principal and the leaders at your school can do their jobs. Finally, health and safety, and again, I'm yes anding everyone said, we need mental health and healthcare inside the school. That is the point of care. Emotional, sex, physical, mental. You are the patient, I am the patient, get it inside the school. If you want to talk to a teacher, your principal, your parent, there should be a doctor's office inside that school for you to talk to.
I'm really very excited about the whole school safety plan. I think it has so much potential to completely change learning in our schools if we're able to create an atmosphere that is really, truly restorative culture. But I also think it's going to take a complete mindset change because most of us have never experienced something like that. So it's going to be a lot of work, and we're going to depend on you all to be engaged in it. Because the only way it really can work is if everyone is working on it together. So I think in terms of accountability, that schools are going to need to have school safety plan committees that definitely include students, and not just like a token student, but a number of students to really represent different voices in the school. I think we're going to need restorative justice practitioners who can work with teachers, work with students, work with parents, for us all to learn restorative practices and be able to implement them. I just really think that it's going to be so important to invest great effort in this, because my experience is that administrators far too easily say, oh, we're doing it, when they're just doing one tiny little thing that really doesn't fundamentally change the culture of the school.
Can I ask you to repeat the question?
Sorry about that. Yes, I can. My question was, the SAC has been a member of the whole school safety steering committee for the last 4 years. This summer, CPS adopted the whole school safety policy, which shifts the focus from traditional policy measures to the more holistic, student-centered approaches, prioritizing mental health, restorative justice, and community-based strategies. How do you plan to continue partnering with CPS students to ensure their voices remain central in shaping and evolving safety policies? Additionally, how will you ensure both the school board and individual schools remain accountable in upholding these safety measures and creating a safe environment?
Okay, I love this question. One, I've been a restorative justice practitioner for the last 10 years. It's kind of my jam, if you will. I piloted a program called Drop Everything and Circle at one of the schools where I worked. And what I recognize is that while we adults really try to do a good job of listening to you guys, it's much better when we just let you lead. And so I would advocate for a student audit. Use organizations like the Mikva Challenge, the Student Advisory Councils. We have student representation on the board. Really put y'all to work to create an audit of our, not just our safety plan, but the strategic plan that adults wrote so diligently. If you guys can be really critical of that plan and ask the questions that you need to ask for us to evolve that plan to something that suits you, I think we'll be heading in the right direction.
Okay, thank you for your responses. Question 5, please.
Hi everyone, my name is Owen. I go to Lane Tech High School. I am a second-term LSC representative there, and I live in District 1. My question for you is, given that some of the board's largest policies, including the whole school safety policy and the strategic 5-year plan, will largely be implemented by local school councils, How do you plan on involving LSC stakeholders like parents, students, and teachers in drafting and approving policies, and how much autonomy would you give local school councils in implementation? Thank you. Oh, sorry. I would like Andrew from District 4, Ebony from District 2, Lamont from District 9, Jason from District 3, Karen from District 4, and Danielle from District 6 to answer this question.
I think the way to listen, and in the 4th district, it's somewhat easier. We only have 34 public schools, and whoever is elected from our district, I expect will be visiting each of those schools as often as once a month, attending as many LSC meetings as they possibly can. I think the role of leadership is often best started by listening. And so I think listening and going out to the schools can be done in our district and should be done. As far as how much authority to give the LSCs, I'm a big believer in distributing decision-making responsibility out as far as you can. So I would encourage local school councils to take as much responsibility as possible and to minimize interference from the central office and from downtown.
I believe that the people closest to the problem have the answers to the problem. And so through organizing, I've had the experience over time to work with my community in coming up with solutions that we work together to implement. I think it is the role of the LSC to meet the requirements that have been set about in their own way. And it is the role of the board to make sure that there's being progress made. LSCs are very valuable to our system because they help at the very level where everybody is being affected. And so since they know what's going on and that every school has its own culture and its individual need, it's important that they have a voice and have power over what happens in the building. The time is over for power over folks. It really should be power shared among people, and that's how we get the best results.
As I shared earlier with my ideas on reinforcing local school councils, I would first just make sure that every local school council is staffed. Shout out to you, Owen, who graduated from Lane Tech as well. I would imagine there was a lot of interest and energy from the community to fill those positions. Not every community has that. Not every community has fully staffed LSC. I would focus on first changing that, so that one LSC does not have, kind of more weight over another. But you all are the implementation partners, the students, the parents, the faculty, the staff that make up those groups. You are ultimately implementing those plans. And so I would start with full transparency. As an LSC member, we get information too late, too little and too late. That absolutely would be a first priority. We have to change that. You cannot implement effectively with information in the ninth inning that's half filled. I would reverse our structure and make sure that local school councils play a role in informing the ideas, not just receiving the strategy once it's been designed, not just saying, okay, I guess I'll take that. I don't have any other choice right now. Okay, I guess I just have to pick up the pieces of the decisions made miles away from me. So I will reverse that and make sure that you all get first dibs on what it is you want to see.
Lamont Raymond Williams, candidate out of the 9th District. First of all, before I get into my answer, shout out to you all as the students. I see you, some of y'all look, it's almost 6:30 on a weekday. I get it, you're tired. So I'm trying to keep this brief. Thank you for the applause. So, first things first, for our LSCs and implementing and Owen, I think that was your name, you said you asked the question. Lane Tech, I'm a Lincoln partner. Don't hold it against me. First, we need to fully rejuvenate and engage our LSCs. Like right now, Most of the LSCs, especially in my district, which is the 9th district, which is 80% African American, with only 3 schools that are considered exemplary, that's in the top 5% of the state. Most of our LSCs, unfortunately, are inactive. So we need to change that. We need to make sure that we are supporting the LSCs and really engaging our parents and community members to revive those LSCs. As an attorney and chief of staff, I literally deal with these problems and work with groups like LSCs throughout the community in my day-to-day, as well as deal with complex budget issues. So making sure that we resource these people is important. The whole school safety plan does not work without buy-in from not only the LSCs, but more importantly from you all, the students. I think in your question, Owen, you mentioned that the whole school safety plan is more student-focused and holistic. So without buy-in from you all, this doesn't work. So again, I want to be the candidate that listens to you all because you deserve better.
If that's okay. So I've been on our LSC for the last 8 years. I started as a community rep. I became a parent rep. I've been the chair through a principal selection process. There's 38 languages spoken in my kids' school. We need funding for language supports at LSCs. We cannot effectively engage our community of parents that genuinely would love to be a part of their children's education if we are not able to communicate with them at all, right? So that is an absolutely critical thing that I think board members are going to need to take seriously and take into account. I'm a very big dork. I have a very big policy page on my website, Maggie for Chicago, if you want to look. But I put it all out there because I think it's important when you're running for something to put it out there so people can hold you accountable to it. So if you get elected, you've had something out in public, right? And voters can say, this is what you promised us. And in that is a plan for engaging LSCs, having bi-monthly LSC convenings, one for elementary, one for high school, making sure they are critical to the process of everything that we do.
Hi guys, just making sure, Karen from District 4, we also had this question targeted towards you, so if you could take your time to say your response to the question. Thank you very much.
So I think the first thing that we need to do is truly empower LSCs. The training that you get from CPS is terrible. It's not empowering. It pretty much just lets people agree with the principal, and far too often LSC members are more or less chosen by the principal so that the principal can make all the decisions. That's not how this is going to work out well, right, if we're going to truly be implementing these plans. So number one, empowerment. There are groups out there that do much better training so that people can be more assertive on those councils. But we're going to need to expand the training. We're going to need to do a better job providing it for the 3 high school student reps. In my high school, the student reps felt completely not listened to, completely ignored, and that has to change, right? So there needs to be training for everyone on how to make sure we're carving a real space for students. At the elementary school, 1 student, that's not realistic. You need more students so that they can be a team and have that opportunity. And then we're going to need training on those specific plans so that we can truly be involved in implementing them. I think local schools should have the power because every school is different and they're going to see those things differently, but at the same time, they're going to need to be part of the overall master plan to make sure that we're really moving in the direction of equity.
I think I remember all the questions since I'll be last. There are 511 LSC seats, about 138 of them are filled, right? So that's an issue. When the LSC started, there were thousands of people interested in being a part of the LSC. And the district led that excitement. And I believe that that is what it takes to invigorate our LSCs. I believe in engaging our news stations. Why don't we see a segment on education on the news? Why aren't our board members out, speaking publicly about the exciting things that we're supposed to be doing in our school districts? I think that one of the ways that we can engage young people is they need their own school councils, right? The student advisory councils, I will tell you, I just found out about it maybe 3 years ago. And so I'm a child of CPS. I raised 3 kids in CPS and didn't know about a student advisory council. And so definitely just highlighting those folks and then throw a party. People want incentive to be involved in something. And so I think that we should celebrate those folks doing the really hard work so that they want to do more of it.
Thank you, candidates, for sharing your thoughts, opinions, and perspectives, and thank you, audience, for coming here to become informed and represent your community. We will now be transitioning to close our event, so can we please give a round of applause for both our candidates and
hello, my name is Dewan. I attend Sullivan High School from District 2. I just want everybody to take the survey so we can, accept the feedback from everything you learned today. And it's very important for us to.
Thank you, Dewan. My name is Karina. I attend Whitney Young in the 7th District. Again, this was a great opportunity for us to meet our candidates who are running for the school board. And we hope you all complete your survey because I worked really hard on it. So please, thank you.
Thank you. This survey will also be for our candidates, so you can also scan the QR codes in real time and also leave the survey as well. Thank you.
I think it's just loud enough. I asked them if they can hear.
All right, thank you all for taking a picture of that survey. If you all have any questions within the audience and you wrote those down on your note cards, please remember to pass those to the end, and we will be sure to be able to share those with the candidates in some shape or form moving forward. And now I'll pass it to Aaliyah.
Hi. So my name is Aaliyah. I go to Gwendolyn Brooks, but I live in the 10th district. And so we would like to thank each of you for attending this event today. And we also ask that you share at least one highlight or comment with your community. And also you can get the candidates' contact information from us. And I'd like to pass it back to Devon.
Again, we wanted to give you a thank you for attending. We would like to connect more with the candidates or find out additional information about them. Please refer to resources given to you at the registration table, or even stick around for a few minutes to connect with the candidates. Thank you guys. Have a great evening.